everyone, and welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we are back in the giveaway journal and we're looking at the final collection pages. I decided to sort of make an omnibus of this video rather than spread it out over a few pages at each video, mostly because I feel like a lot of these ones are very basic and self-explanatory and don't need a lot of time spent on camera talking about them. And then the other reason is because I want to really get on to showing you the monthly setups as well as get to the final flip through. Since we are now in December, there is a lot of bullet journaling content to be shared before 2024, and just logistically I just didn't have enough time to get that all shared as well as get this journal here shown in full. So I decided to make a bigger video this time around rather than doing the shorter ones that I was doing, and hopefully you will stick around and see how this comes together. If this isn't your type of video, that's totally okay. I am doing an entire flip through of the journal when I am finished with it, and I will make sure to let everyone know when I get to that point. So right now we are working on the 2024 at a glance page. This is kind of new to me. Credit to 𝓦𝓱𝓮𝓻 on Instagram. I saw this first on her page, and it's essentially, if you bullet journal already, it's essentially like a future log, at least in the layout. So I am putting down all 12 months into these boxes here, and I will then write out painstakingly every single calendar, and then the giveaway winner can use this to create a visual. That's essentially what this is. So I've just recently started doing this. For me, I have to do it over two-page spreads simply because I read a lot more than the giveaway winner does. And so I will share on the screen now what my pages are looking like. And essentially I've used this as showcasing where my reads have finished. So say I finished a book on the 4th of January, and it was a 5-star read, I would mark the colour for 5 stars, which is pink for me, down over the 4th, and then write it down underneath the calendar as reference. And I just think it's a really pretty page. It's very much so a visual. It's nothing like, I don't think it's a page that you really need to have. It's more of an aesthetic, but I think it worked really well. And when the giveaway winner actually saw me do my own, she was like, "Oh, this is really amazing!" And ironically, then she won. And of course, it was one that I asked if she wanted, and she was very much so like, "Yes, please." So we're gonna get these calendars in. Admittedly, they do take a lot of time. So whilst this doesn't look like it's taking me a great deal of time, I would say that this page here, I haven't calculated the footage of it, but I think this two-page spread would have taken me about 40 minutes just to do everything with the line work and then put in all the calendars. You do get a sore hand when you write them out manually. I would really like to have like a stamp or a sticker sort of set for it, but it worked really well to write it out all the same, and I gave you the benefit of not watching me do that. And thankfully, I didn't make a single mistake. This is one where I always tend to make at least one mistake, but I was quite diligent with this. Maybe I should do more journals for other people, because whenever I do this type of calendar layout for myself, always make a mistake. And that's pretty much it for this page. We're moving on to another 2 challenges. So on the left we have the day's red pixel, and on the right we have read the rainbow. So if you're new to my channel, these are pages that I have in my own reading journal currently. I gave, again, the giveaway journal winner the option of having all the pages I use or some of them, and we came up with a custom list, and this was one she wanted. So I use this one to track how many books I read each day. Some people I know track what type, excuse me, so like audiobook, and then maybe the next day you would have a mixed read, or the day after you would read a physical, and then 3 more days you'd read an ebook, that kind of thing. You can use it that way. I guess you could also use it in any other way. It's very customizable. But for me, I always do this as a how many pages, oh, you could do that, sorry, but I don't do pages, sorry, how many books I read each day. So for me, my code system is 1, 2, 3+ books, or none. And I really like this because I enjoy seeing the trends. What days of the month do I do the same things on? And I think it's really important when you read a lot to see these kind of trends, to see if there's ways that you can figure out if that's working for you, or perhaps you have one day a month where you just don't read, and then you can see why. Maybe that day is something special for you each month. I'm not sure, but I just like it. It's a really informative page, and I have left it again blank for the winner, simply because this isn't mine, so setting it up for me might not be the same for setting it up for her. So I've just simply made the grid, put the header in, and left space down the left side for her to fill in a color code and key system for herself. Um, yeah, it's a very simple page to work with, but I think it's really important for most journal setups, when especially for a reading journal. I use this type of format as well in my everyday, but for other things I've used it to track things like my period tracker, or I am gluten free, and when I was very first diagnosed with that, I did it as a gluten free tracker, like getting used to being eating just a certain way. So it's a really helpful sort of way that you can track things over an entire year period. So yeah, very helpful page. We're now moving on to Read the Rainbow. This one's really self-explanatory in a sense of it is choosing to read books with certain colours. So if you've read a book that's got a red cover, pink cover, yellow cover, you get the point. You can chuck it down on one of these. I think it's fun little challenge, and actually it can be harder than it looks, because I have struggled to find some books to fill this in this year. So there's been a really hard time for me to get a red book, and I think it was white was another one, and then green were the last three that I had left. And I've managed to complete this challenge now, but it's taken me all year to really get stuck in and figure out which ones that I had actually completed. And thankfully I had completed them in the last couple of months. I just hadn't had the time to sit down and have a look. But I'm just using the colours of the rainbow to fill in these little boxes that I've created, and then the winner can print out the covers or write down the titles of the books. She could do whatever in these box spaces, but um, yeah, it's just simply a place to challenge yourself for what color books you pick up. And then I've done black as well as white or grey. So obviously on white paper I can't really represent white as well, so I went with a grey pen to do the line art, but it could be grey or it could be a white book. Flipping over and into another day as well, we can see the lighting has changed, and we're on to the series tracker now. There was a portion that I did not find clips for, and I think I filmed it when the battery was dead, and I will be showing that in the flip through in more detail. It was simply the A to Z challenge and the 24 books in 2024. So I'll quickly tell you what those are. A to Z challenge you can do as a book title thing, so A Man with a Dog, Bertie's Bookcase. I don't know, I'm making really random things up right now, but you get that. You can use it for titles, or you can use it for authors, which I did this year because I did titles the year beforehand. I'm not doing this one next year, I don't think. I think I'm going to do like a trope challenge instead, just because I feel like I've done both ways, the author challenge as well as the book title challenge, so I think I'll leave it at that. But it's a really fun challenge, and it actually does get you thinking, and you have to work hard to get through it. I do find that the author challenge was easier for me. I don't read a lot of books that start with X, Y, and Z. Well, Y is not a problem, but Z and X were a problem. And there was a couple of other letters. I think U was one of them that I had a real hard time with. This year, using them for authors, I didn't have as much of a problem. And actually, N was the last one that I needed to complete. So yeah, very fun challenge. And then the other page was the 24 books in 2024, and that's simply choosing 24 books, whether or not you ask your followers or you choose them yourself, and you try to read those books within the year. I don't actually like this challenge as much as I would like. I struggle with it, mostly because I am a Gemini, maybe that's the reason, but I find that the books that I choose when I sit down and write these lists never end up being the books that I want to read at this time of the year. So this year I decided to only do half the list in the first half of the year and then finish the second half of the list off after July. And I'm still at the point now where there's a couple of books on there that I'm just like not interested in reading, but we'll see. I'll see if I can finish the challenge. But I think it's a good challenge for people who are new to challenging themselves in a reading journal setup, and it's quite common. So that's why I put that one down. But again, those pages are so simple to set up. You just simply put a header down and the alphabet or 24 numbers. So you didn't really miss much. On this page here, I have gone with my same layout for my series tracker. And as you could see, I had a lot of trouble with decorating it. I do come back to it, but essentially I have made space for 2 lines for each series. And then there on the right side of the tracker there are 10 spaces which you could halve. So if there's a manga series that you're following and there's 20 volumes, you can make it fit. I've found that this works the best, or working from right to left, because you never know how many books are going to be in a series. So yeah, that's how I have set that up, by using the same layout that's working for me. Hopefully that'll work for the giveaway winner as well. Again, I've mentioned that she doesn't read as much as I do, so there's plenty of space there to work with and hopefully get a feel for it. This is the owned TBR, and again, I followed my same layout for myself. With this one, I've broken it up into 4 little boxes, and she can write the title of the book down and then check it off whenever she finishes it or unhauls it or whatever. She'll have to be making her own key grid for that again. And I don't know what it was with this washi tape. I was like insistent on using it and it looks stupid. So the amount of times I pull this stuff off is ridiculous. But I do get a bit more creative, thank goodness, because when I was watching this back to edit it, I was getting really frustrated with myself. Like, why did I think that this basic washi tape, which is really pretty when you layer it with something else, was going to work in this situation? I'm not really sure. But we go back into it with a bit more decoration in a moment. Yeah, that's all the pages that I will be sharing today. We're now done with the collection section. I did leave 4 blank pages in between the collections and January, simply because this isn't my journal and I wanted to ensure that if at any point there's a challenge that she thinks of, or there's like maybe she wants to make a goals page, I'm not sure, that she has the opportunity to do that. I think it's really important to make sure that that space was left there so the freedom is there, because this isn't going to be for me and it's not going to work for her if there's not enough space to do her own type of thing as well. So in the end I left those pages and then thankfully got creative with trying to add a bit more elements of this paper back in, since we haven't seen it in a while. And I also use some stamps in a moment, and I'll show you how you fix that if you make a mistake as well. Again, these pages didn't take too long to set up because they're all pretty blank still. Because I'm not making it as personal as I would for myself, I really went like quite bare. I wanted there to be decoration, but I didn't want to take too much time in making it too personal, because it's not for me. I wanted to make sure that there was room for the winner to grow with this book. So these stamps come from the Quirky Cup Collective. I really, really like them. They are the reading journal stamps, and I will link them below. Unfortunately for me, I didn't realize they weren't all even. I started off great, and then I put the next stamp on, I think, and it's, yeah, too low, which really, you can see I'm like, oh darn, what am I going to do now? But I carry on, and I'll show you how we fix this issue in a minute. And then it's not the greatest fix, but it works. And then I'll show you how I improve on the next page for that. So I just used a pen. Try and find one that's darker, probably a little bit darker than this one would have been nicer. But once you put the header in there, there's no problem. Like, you're not even gonna notice it all that much. thankfully it's a good quick fix. And I coloured in the stamps as well. This book, I have the same book for my everyday journal, and I did use stamps in it. And I found that if I layered colour over top of the stamps, it would bleed. So you might see that I check. I don't know if I do on this page or not, but I did check at some point to make sure that using the Crayola Supertip and the Mildliners over top wasn't causing any bleeding or ghosting, because I had that problem in my everyday journal when I did it for the first time and got a little bit upset. So, and because this isn't mine, I didn't want to make too much of a mess. So thankfully, it wasn't a problem. I'm actually not that worried. I thought I was, but in the past I have been. So what I did for the second time round is I went and taped down a piece of um, paper, and then I went through and did it this way. So yeah, it works a lot easier when you cover up that header and you don't have the problem of stamping over into the work that you've already done. And that's it basically for this video. The collection section is now done. That is really fun to say. I wouldn't say it 3 times in a row though, because I'd probably get tongue-tied. But I'm really grateful for you spending some time with me today. I hope that you've enjoyed seeing the rest of it being set up. Are these pages that you would use in your reading journal? Have you got any other ones? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. And until we next meet, I hope you have fun reading, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.